Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is January 13th, 2022, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, oil and the Canadian dollar rally together. Okay, now if oil goes up, so does the Canadian dollar, and that sure has been the case. We're going to take a look at both of them in just a second. Now, looking at the major economic events of the day at 3:30 South African time, PPI number coming out of the United States, also an inflationary number, also very important. Now, looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, Canadian dollar gains very nicely versus the U.S. dollar. Now, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both taper off. While looking at commodities, gold continues to rally higher, but tapering off of last, and gold back on its resistance. Now, Tesla showing some strength. And lastly, Bitcoin gets the bounce we were looking for. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. Let's take a look at this Canadian dollar daily chart. We hit this 126-ish level, broke it right here at the bottom of it of 124. Now this is significantly stronger versus the USD. It's over a 400 pip move in just the past days. So those are the type of moves we're looking for. Now looking at a 4-hour chart on its highs versus the USD, remember it's the USD CAD. Okay, so it's the base currency is Canadian dollar and the trading currency is the US dollar. So if it's going down, it means that the Canadian dollar is getting stronger while the US dollar is getting weaker. Now to give us perspective, we're almost back on our lows here as we've gotten stronger versus the US dollar. Remember, we were trading as high as 145. So this is significant. Now looking at a monthly, historically, we were almost at par. Okay, going back as far as a decade ago, and from as far back as I can remember, the US dollar and the Canadian dollar were very close to each other for a very long time. I mean, if we go further back, you could see that a little bit clearer, but you could see the roller coaster ride that we've had over the past, decade even. Okay, and we've been in this relatively tight range for the type of environment that the Forex symbols generally trade in. Okay, so 140 down to 121, and we're about, closer to this 121-ish level. So keep this in mind if this continues to break. And look, it's breaking even on an 8-day moving average on a monthly, which is very important because that's a significant amount to also break. So if it does further break down below 124, we could see going back to 121. That's a good sign for the Canadian dollar. Now, this is on the back of crude oil hitting almost all-time highs, right? $83, $84 a barrel. And that's a really decent place for oil to be. And if it does break above 83, 84, we could see it bellowing higher as well. Okay, but coming into gold, let's take a look at the other commodity that we generally cover. Look at gold, 1828 right now, back on our resistance. Now, this has been a sore area, a very sore area. How many times have we tried to hit it and break it and it hasn't come apart? However, okay, we've been in this tighter range and it looks like it's going up. I'm not saying it's going to break up, but I want to see this unfold later today because we did have this breakout, fake out right here where we thought it was going to sustain itself, but it didn't. It broke it. Okay, so this is really a very important level. And if it does break and break above this 1840-ish level, that's important. Number one, we made a higher low here and then a higher low, and I expect it to push higher. Okay, if it doesn't, then it'll break back down to the 1770-ish level, but it's giving me some perspective and there's some value to follow up with it. Okay, so this is really, I'm very biased on the upside on this, on the bullish side, so it could actually turn out to be a really great trade, one of those A+ trades that happen once in a year, really that type of trade. Now jumping into the American indices, the Dow Jones tapering off about 200 points, really not a big event. If we look at the NASDAQ, also tapering off. Now if we look at the stocks, they bounce and they're trading with the index. And if we look at Apple, it did bounce and then retraced a little bit. Microsoft bounced and then retracing a little bit. Okay, so they're testing themselves and testing their lows. Tesla is strong like a bull. Look at it, 1100. Let's look at a 1-hour chart. Yesterday we just gapped up and rallied. Okay, so since we've hit this 1996, we've been rallying. Now this does look like a head and shoulder formation. Okay, if let's take a look at it specifically, the head and the shoulder, that would be one shoulder. There's the head and there's your second shoulder. Okay, so just keep in mind that this may be a bearish formation actually developing. So yeah, keep it in mind. All right. Lastly, Bitcoin. This is where we wanted. We've been really anticipating this. Really, everybody's been asking me what's going on with Bitcoin. What's going on with Bitcoin? Voila. Okay. 41,000 was a decent support level and taking you up to 43,000. Does that mean we'll ever come back down to 41? No. But for right now, we're bouncing. We have a bottom. Okay. I would actually look to, wait for the pullback, wait for a further pullback, and maybe buy it on the anticipation it's going to go higher. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.